and feeling great. Om Shanti and welcome to Light of Knowledge. Everyone seems to grapple with the question, who am I? And there is a constant search of answers to define ourselves. Today, we are going to get into a conversation with Sister Shreya from the Brahma Kumaris to understand who we are truly better. Welcome to the show, Sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Sister, in our previous conversation, you said something which was very, very insightful and very powerful. You said that we are more than the body, more than our roles, religions, gender, nationality. We are a soul. And everything else is something that we've acquired on this journey. And when you are a soul, the only thing that you carry on this journey is your traits and your karmic accounts.
Right.
And traits, you said, are the virtues like kindness, love, honesty, which essentially goes to make your personality. And the karmic accounts are essentially maybe unfinished business that you would carry in terms of, maybe difficult relationships or any kind of physical challenges, any kind of problems that you would have. And there could be even good karmic accounts in terms of very beautiful and happy relationships or happy situations in your life as well.
Right.
So, Sister, this is actually very, very insightful. Why? Because if you have to look at it from a point of view of a mother now, and she has 2 children in her home, and both of them are so different now with this insight.
Yeah.
They're different in terms of their own journeys, their own karmic accounts that they carry, their own traits. How should she therefore look at these 2 children?
Yeah, this is very interesting because when you have 2 children, you want them to be very similar, or rather if somebody has one trait which you think is a good trait, you want the other child also to have that trait. Anything which this child is good at, you want the other child also to be good at. But the moment I think the mother will realize that they are not just 2 bodies, but what comes at home is not 2 bodies but beings. And these beings are not coming empty-handed. They're bringing something with them. They're bringing their inherent traits. And you very nicely said that inherent traits could be your virtues, which is your generosity, could be your compassion, cooperation, but it could also be some of the vices. Or rather let me not say vices, but weaknesses. A child could be, one child could easily get angry or could be nervous or could be fearful, and the other one is not fearful at all, is very calm, is very stable. And then what happens is, because you don't realize that they bring their inherent traits, their sanskars, you constantly keep comparing them. You want the one to be like the other. And this constant comparison for the being is very, very difficult, because actually there can be no comparison. They are 2 different identity on a different journey altogether.
So, Sister, it completely negates the entire aspect of comparison. I mean, how can you compare when it's just different?
Yeah.
Both are different.
And that's why when somebody is compared quite a lot, they feel at loss, Their self-respect also goes very low, because self-respect is totally dependent on the self. Who am I? If I understand who am I, then I respect that I. But here this I, who has brought this inherent traits, is not respected. It's actually rejected, and somebody wants that you should be like this I.
Yeah.
And then you will be accepted. So this person goes through identity crisis, what some people say. They cannot be like them, they are not able to be the other person, and they feel very, very rejected, at a loss. So I think you just can't compare 2 souls at all. They are on a different journey. One thing is possible. For example, you like the trait of this child, of this being. This trait is very helpful. Say this being has this inherent quality of being very helpful. Now you want this being also to be very helpful. Now this being is somebody who is not very helpful, would withdraw from the situation, or maybe just be a detached observer but would not contribute. Instead of comparing them, the 2 identities, you can just pick up the trait and tell this being that I think you can inculcate this trait and it will enhance your personality. Not say become like your sister or brother. Forget the brother, forget the sister, just pick up the trait. Don't tell them to be like this one, it is impossible. But you can pick up a trait and you can tell them that you as a being is okay, is very good, is very individual in its own way, has its own identity, perfect, accept them the way they are. But you want to improve their personality. As a mother, you always want to enhance their personality. You want them to adopt more virtues. You can tell them. First, you appreciate and accept them the way they are, and then you can suggest that why don't you inherit this trait? It will only enhance their personality. They will do it.
It's more like being inspired rather than being compared.
That's the exact word. That's the inspiration. Everybody likes to be inspired, but nobody likes to be compared. Nobody wants to be the other person, and sometimes we then start being like the other person. One of the reasons is because when I have very low self-respect, then I want to be approved. I want to be constantly approved. So I think now you will give me your approval and acceptance when I become like them. Because I don't know who I am, I can't accept myself, self-respect is low, then I try to be like another person. The truth is you can try very, very hard. You can try very hard. But we are beings, and one fact about the beings is they're all unique. Just like bodies are all unique, everyone has 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, 2 ears. But again, there is this difference. I mean, no matter how hard you try, there's going to be some difference. Even with twins, the mother will be able to identify that tiny difference. Similarly, no 2 souls are same. They are different, and they are always going to be different. Each one is unique in its own way. Each one is special, and you can help the soul to become better and better.
So sister, like you said that people are unique, they are special, especially because they've got different traits. Likewise, they would also have different karmic accounts. Unfinished business, which would be very different from somebody else's unfinished business.
And normally you will be around the same people with whom you have that kind of karmic account. That is why some people say, it's very difficult for me to accept that my son, my mother, my husband did this to me. It's very difficult. If somebody unknown does something wrong, you still okay. They say something to you, they cheat you, they insult you, you're still able to accept. But somebody very close is going to do that to you, you feel very, very hurt. But we have to also realize that people who have unfinished business with us, those souls with whom we have certain account, we want or we don't want, they will come very, very close to us. So we have to really accept them, even if we feel that, we are a little different. Sometimes the mother is like, or sometimes the father can also feel, are you really my child? Because the difference is so huge in the nature. But you have to accept it, because maybe there is some unfinished business, good and bad, that you have to settle in this life.
It's very interesting that you said that, sister. And also takes me to the next question, which I think would be in the minds of the viewers, and that is, how do you know for certain that you've made this journey, you are a soul, you're timeless? A lot of debates exist today disputing this. People who are educated, rationalists, very logical thinkers completely dismiss this as a figment of imagination. How would you respond to this question, sister?
I think, sister, if you could prove it, there wouldn't be so much talking about it, because this is one thing that you can't prove. It's actually, you can't even see soul, it's an energy. There are people who try, because people feel we are more than the body. A lot of people feel that. So sometimes they try to capture it when somebody is about to die. They have these cameras and they try to photograph it, but they're not able to catch anything. So I don't think you can really prove the fact that I am a soul, but everybody can feel it. But yes, there is one aspect, there is one area where there's a lot of research done, even science and doctors are kind of thinking about it, is if you've heard about regression therapy. These are some doctors, actually they use this therapy to heal diseases. You know, the whole idea was to heal somebody. So in this case, they, whoever is the patient, they kind of relax them quite a lot, and they try to take them back. Because sometimes a patient comes with a disease or some ache which has nothing to do in this lifetime. They keep saying that my back is paining, my leg is hurting, and even if you do all the tests, you can't see anything. Or even a particular relationship may not be very good. You want to understand that, you know, what happened, why is this relationship so difficult. So people use these techniques. And when some of these doctors used these techniques, they came to a realization that when they were relaxing the person, and when you relax somebody, you try to take them back. So sometimes you take them back like a week, a month, then a year, then couple of years, and sometimes they can go back to their lifetime, previous lifetime. They start talking about what happened in my previous lifetime. I remember this one incident where this doctor mentioned that this woman had backache, and even after all the tests couldn't come to a conclusion why she had this backache. So they did this therapy and they took her back, and in one of the lifetimes, maybe the previous or the one previous to that, she had met with an accident in the car where the door of the car kind of banged into her back. And that's where she kind of died with that last impression of pain. And that impression was so deep that even when she took another costume, that impact was there. She kept feeling that there is something in her back. That kind of proves that there was a birth before where she kind of inherited that pain and brought it into this lifetime.
And then the purpose of having this regression therapy, I think for this particular patient who, you know, was suffering from the pain, it kind of gave her an answer as to why it happened in her lifetime. It kind of told her that, you know, okay, you're feeling what you're feeling, it has its reasons, so now come on, move on with life.
Yeah, I think sometimes it helps people to accept what's happening with them, but I would still suggest that one should not go into the details of the past, because this was to do with the disease, you know, and it was easy for her to accept. But sometimes the answers that you might find out may not be something that you want to listen to. I've also had enough stories where when people actually found out, there was this woman, it was really sad, because this woman had two daughters, this sister had two daughters, and they wanted, you know, they wanted a son. So they did a lot of rituals, they went to pilgrimage, they prayed to God. You know how you sometimes, if you want something, you kind of go all this, and then she had a son, but she kept feeling every time she looked at her son, she shared, it was very sad, she said, it was my son, and every time I looked at my son, I wanted to kill my son. And she said, I would feel so guilty, because I know I love my son, but I don't know what would happen that when I would look at my son, I felt like killing him. And then sometimes she went into this therapy, but she found out the answers which were not very good. The answers that she did not want to listen, the relationship that they shared in the previous birth. And then it was very difficult for her to accept the present. If the therapy's purpose is to accept your present, if the therapy purpose is only so that I can accept the present and move on, I think the soul has the power to accept anyways and move on. Because you will go into a therapy being very fearful or maybe looking for answers, and only somebody who is very weak will go for the therapy. See, anybody who is very strong can anyways accept, look for a solution, do something to make that relationship work and move forward. But somebody who is weak wants to go into the past. And maybe if you're already weak, you may not like the answers, you may not be able to accept, and that relationship may just never work.
So the power of acceptance really gets very stronger when you understand that whatever you're going through, or whatever you see others in your family going through, it's because of the baggage that they are carrying in this journey.
It's like you come to a conclusion that everything is accurate. You're not a victim. It just makes you feel very powerful, because everything is accurate. And now, instead of all those questions where it is all like, why, You move from why, you move from being a problem oriented person to a very solution oriented person. Okay, this is this, now what? You move on to the next chapter of your life, and sometimes those challenges can make you grow quite a lot. They are a mirror or a reflection to your personality. You can actually find out what is in you that you need to change, and they can help you also to grow quite a lot. So yes, accept, look for solutions and move on. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the whole every scene instead of questioning, because there's this beautiful line in Hindi where you say, जो प्रश्न ज़्यादा करता है वो प्रसन्न नहीं रह सकता है. Prashanchit means somebody who keeps questioning quite a lot, and Prasanchit means happiness. So if you're somebody who questions quite a lot and can't put a full stop, then it's very difficult to be content in the present and look for solutions.
I want to come back to the aspect that you so beautifully spoke about, sister, which is about soul. Now that I have the knowledge that I am a soul, everyone around me are souls. How does that change anything for me as well as for the others?
Yeah, I need to understand this, because the moment I realize that I am a being, my relationship with everything that I've acquired changes. My relationship with my own body also changes. You know, it's like the relationship between the driver and the car. So driver is the one who is in control, not the car. Driver is the master, and he is in the position to ride the car the way he wants. So my body is like the car that I've acquired, and I am the driver. I am the master, and I can run this body the way I want. You know, it's very powerful, because otherwise we are very dependent on the sensual pleasures and the sensory pleasures. When I don't remember who I am, that I am this master who can control this body, I use all the organs the way I want. This hand, this particular hand, has no choice. This hand has no idea whether I need to do a handshake with somebody, or give a slap to somebody, or kill somebody. This hand has no idea. It was not going to make any decision. This I, the master, guides every organ of the body how to perform. So mostly all my actions will be right. Even to an extent, we use these sensory organs to fill us. You know, we then eat a lot, see something that we should not see, hear something that we should not hear. Then the body becomes the master. I become the slave. It is matter over me. And then I get addicted. Then I lose myself in all those addictions. I become slave, I become bondage of my own body. The body that I'm supposed to use, I become a slave of that body. So the first thing, when I view myself as a soul, and this is my body, I become the master. And I'm not dependent on sensory and sensual pleasures. And that is why the word bliss. You will see many people who are in this awareness that I'm a being and not body. They are kind of intoxicated already, yet not addicted. A lot of addictions can give you that high. They are feeling that high. They are joyful, they are happy, they are intoxicated, yet they are not addicted on anything. To an extent that for somebody that addiction would be like, you know, they would worship that addiction. Alcohol or anything, they think I worship this because that is giving them a high. And this being who is in the awareness of who I am is not addicted to anything, yet always in that state of high, fully control. That's, I think, is one thing which completely changes when you view yourself the true I.
So when you think of yourself as the driver in the car, it gives you a sense of control actually over, it could be your body, it could be over what you're thinking. Suddenly you are orchestrating everything.
Yes.
And likewise, with the same knowledge, you can also perceive the other person. He or she, there's also another driver in that car. And that driver is making different choices. So I think that is a very empowering thought that, you know, I am a soul, they are souls, we've all been on this long journey, we all come with different virtues, we come with different unfinished businesses, and we're all so unique, we're so different.
Like we were thinking ourselves to be labels, then we see them also as labels. Then if my self-respect is dependent on labels, then I start giving them respect only if they have those labels. You know, say if they are on a higher position or they look beautiful, I think I need to give them respect, I need to love them, I need to appreciate them. But the whole concept of universal brotherhood, you know, we are connected to everyone. We can only be connected to everyone when I see myself as soul and I see others as soul, not what they have acquired, going beyond that and having connection with being, having a connection with another being.
And suddenly when it's a soul talking to a soul, suddenly everything else fades away. And it seems like you're having the conversation at a different level. It's energy to energy, and it's a very empowering feeling.
It's like you can respect everyone, you can love everyone, you kind of go beyond the judgments which you were judging the person on the labels, because now then there is no difference whether they are playing any role. You know, it could be a role of maid, it could be a role of boss. Two different, entirely different roles. Previously, it was very easy for you to respect the boss, may not be very easy for you to respect the maid. You know, your behavior was kind of different because you were perceiving them according to what they had acquired. You were perceiving them according to their positions, according to their roles. Now, when you realize, no, this is something that they have acquired. And this is just a role that they are playing. This is their contribution. It's different. Of course, we have a lot of regard for the role that they are playing, but you are easily able to accept everyone and respect them. It's very natural for you to respect the maid, the watchman, the child, the boss, everyone. And that respect is very, very pure. You know, it's not based on the position. Sometimes you can respect the boss, but you really not like the boss. But here it's so pure because you're not respecting their position. Even if it's a boss, you're respecting that being.
It's as if suddenly everybody's come on a level playing field. The boss, the maid, the watchman, you, a CEO, the Prime Minister, everybody. You're all these beings doing different roles, wearing different costumes in different positions. And it makes you feel so special then for the role that you have in this lifetime.
And that's why we can talk about equality so much. You know, this is also one of the debates you see even at peace conferences. But equality cannot come till you start seeing yourself as soul and others as soul. Only then can you respect their roles, their religions, their cultures, their caste. You respect them entirely. So I think one thing which changes quite a lot is when you perceive yourself as soul, there's a lot of equality. There's a lot of love which you can spread around.
I think it was a great conversation, sister. So much that I personally take away. The sense of you being a soul, someone else being a soul, and therefore all being equal on this journey is truly very insightful. Thank you for joining us, sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
So friends, this conversation was very, very insightful for me. And my biggest takeaway is that while I am a soul, the others around me are also souls on a similar journey. And this is very empowering because suddenly it brings a sense of equality, a sense of universal brotherhood between all people who are performing different roles, different nationalities, and in different positions. I hope you enjoyed watching this session. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, do feel free to write to us. Take care.